If you've been thinking about starting a small feedlot, whether it is with 10 cattle, 30 cattle or even 100, this video could save you a lot of money, because here's the truth. Most people think a feedlot is simple. Buy cattle, feed them for a few months, sell them heavier, make a profit. It sounds logical, but that's also why so many first-time feedlot owners lose money. The biggest mistake isn't buying the wrong feed. It isn't disease, it isn't even the beef price. It's misunderstanding how a feedlot actually makes money. A feedlot isn't just a place where cattle gain weight. It's a business that has to turn feed into value more efficiently than the market expects. And if you don't understand that, your cattle can look fantastic while your bank account tells a completely different story. So before you invest a single rand into a feedlot, let's look at how they really work. A feedlot isn't where cattle are born. It's the final stage of beef production. Most calves spend the first part of their lives on grazing farms. Once they've reached the right age and size, they are moved into a feedlot where they are fed carefully balanced rations designed to help them finish efficiently. Notice I didn't say grow as fast as possible. That's because faster isn't always better. A good feedlot aims to produce healthy, well-finished cattle that meets the requirements of buyers while keeping production costs under control. That's a very different goal from simply making animals heavier. Here's where most beginners go wrong. They believe that every kilogram an animal gains is profit. It isn't. Every kilogram costs money. Every extra day in the feedlot means more feed, more labor, more water, more risk, more financing cost if you're borrowing money, and more exposure to changes in the beef market. Eventually every animal reaches a point where keeping it for another week adds very little value but adds more cost. Knowing exactly when to sell is one of the biggest differences between experienced operators and beginners. Good feedlot managers don't chase the heaviest animal, they chase the most profitable one. This is where many people underestimate the business. Large commercial feedlots have advantages that are difficult to compete with. They buy feed in bulk. They often employ nutritionists, they have experienced managers, they negotiate better prices with suppliers, they have established relationships with buyers and abattoirs, they spread their fixed costs across thousands of cattle. A small feedlot doesn't have those advantages. When you're feeding only a few animals, one mistake has a much bigger impact. If one animal gets sick, if feed prices increase, if the market drops just before you're ready to sell, your entire profit can disappear. That doesn't mean small feedlots can't succeed. It simply means they have to be smarter instead of bigger. Here's the good news. Small feedlots do have strengths. You're more flexible, you can monitor every animal closely, you can adjust your feeding program quickly, you can often market directly to local butcheries or private buyers instead of relying only on large processors. If you already own grazing land, produce some of your own feed, or integrate a feedlot into an existing cattle operation, your cost may be lower than someone starting completely from scratch. Many successful small feedlots don't compete with large commercial operators. They focus on producing consistently good cattle while keeping overheads low. If I had to pick the biggest mistakes, they'd be these: buying cheap cattle instead of quality cattle, trying to save money on nutrition, changing feed too quickly, ignoring clean water, overcrowding pens, not keeping proper records, guessing instead of weighing animals, and probably the biggest mistake of all, thinking that heavier always means more profit. It doesn't. Sometimes selling an animal at the right time makes far more money than feeding it for another month. That's something many beginners only learn after they've already lost money. So, can you still make money with a small feedlot? Yes, absolutely. But only if you treat it like a business first and a cattle project second. Successful feedlots aren't built on hope. They're built on planning, they're built on understanding costs, they're built on good management, and they're built on making hundreds of small decisions correctly every single day. Remember this, a feedlot isn't a place where cattle make money. It's a place where management makes money. Two farmers can buy similar cattle, feed similar rations, and sell into the same market. One makes a profit, the other loses money. The difference usually isn't luck. It's the decisions they made along the way. If you're thinking about starting a feedlot, spend just as much time learning the business side as you do learning about cattle. Because the best feedlot operators aren't just great stockmen, they're excellent business people. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more practical South African farming and agribusiness content. And let me know in the comments, which agricultural business should we break down next?